So we're seeing a lot of like community building, you're expanding so much. I'd love to know like as like people who are listening to this who are just wanting to break into the industry and like wanting to get started, do you have like any advice that you really like communicating to your community about like getting started in this industry, whether that be photography in general, social media, anything like that? Like what's your go-to, like here's what I would do?
Yeah, I feel like I have a couple things. First thing is that I feel like in a world of like education and YouTube tutorials and like, I don't know, YouTube University, you don't need to go to college anymore. There's so much out there. I feel like beginners sometimes have a tendency to like consume all this education and never like put it into practice. So, my biggest piece of advice and what helped me like really find my style and my interest in photography is shoot every single day. Like shoot everything that makes you uncomfortable. So like whether that be, say you're a little bit nervous about shooting in low light or with a flash, or having your subjects do crazy poses, like really just try to do all the things that make you uncomfortable, because that's just how you grow.
Mhm.
And it may be bad at first, but that's how you improve and that's how you find your style, and put everything that you learn on social media and on YouTube and everything into practice, because that's like the best way to do it.
I'm like, that's great advice. I feel like that's the best advice.
I had something else I wanted to say, but I'm trying to think what it was. Oh, I remember. If you're a photographer and you're trying to kind of niche down and you love to book a certain type of thing, whether that be couples and weddings or maybe crazy portraits, I think a really good thing for beginners to do is, I kind of say like fake it till you make it, and just start creating the type of work that you want to be booked for. So, like if you want to shoot for brands, get together all of your earrings and necklaces and do a pretend like jewelry shoot and make it look like that, and kind of just build your portfolio with like spec work and show people what you're capable of and what they could get when they book with you. I always think that's just good advice, because
Yes.
when I like first quit my job, I was like, okay, I want to do everything. People should know that I do everything, so I'll just post everything. I'll post couple stuff, I'll post portraits, but what I really wanted to do was portraits. But I still felt this need to be posting all this other stuff to let people know that I did it. But once I like niched down and really just started posting only portrait stuff, that's when I got started getting booked for portraits more. So just kind of like figure out what you like most and create that type of work and try to tell people that that's what you're capable of, if that makes
I
sense.
love that. I think that's one of the best pieces of advice, especially as you get into the industry, is that, like you said, when you're shooting everything, it's hard to build like this super niche down portfolio. It's hard to like show exactly what you want to do. And I always tell beginners, I'm like, it would be in your best interest to spend like $300 putting together like a bunch of your dream shoots than to take like 10 sessions for $50, because you'll have no control over like what that's going to look like or what that's going to do for your
Mm-hmm.
portfolio. Whereas if you can get your portfolio up and running, I still do that even now. I'm like intentionally blank. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're like a
Mm-mm.
shoe company. They're my favorite. I own so many of their boots, and I'm like, this is me just manifesting that I will be their photographer one day. But I shoot my shoes of them all the time, and I'm like, and one day I need to do this sooner rather than later. I can pitch that to them because I'm like, I've already shot
Mm-hmm.
their shoes because I own
Oh
so
yeah.
many pairs. So I think that's such a great idea. Like gather the jewelry that you have or like the products or whatever it is that you're wanting to do. I love that. I think that's great advice.